Jesus. It's a beautiful life. All around us. It's Jesus. Is the light of the world. It's a beautiful life. We are talking about Jesus. Who is it? Jesus. He is the light of this world. I said, he is. I said, he is the light of the Say it. Why?
When God set me free.
Yeah, he set me
Why
free.
should I be when Jesus died for you?
Yes, he did. Yes, he did.
Don't you know that God will make a way?
Say it.
Oh yeah, I'm so glad He's mine. That He's my Savior. He watches me. For He is my keeper.
Let me just hear just a little bit more there. Yeah. All right. He is the keeper.
Don't you know that God will make a way out of no way? Oh yeah, that He's my Savior.
To God be the glory. How great God is. Why you have lifted him up this morning. He's worthy of the praise. I'm going to speak from Jeremiah, the 20th chapter, verses 11 through 12. Now, if you see me dibbing and dabbing, it's because of, I spoke about the joy, pain, joy, living with pain, the joy of salvation. I spoke about Paul having they thought, all right, optimal, the problem. And this is what I'm somewhat going through for a minute.
Yeah. All right, sir.
Jeremiah says, but the Lord is with me as a mighty, terrible one. Therefore my persecutors shall stumble and shall not prevail. They shall be greatly ashamed, for they shall not prosper. If their everlasting confusion shall never be forgotten.
Right.
But, O Lord of hosts,
Yes.
that triest the righteous and seest the reins and the heart, let me see thy vengeance on them.
Yes.
For unto thee have I opened my cause.
Yes. Amen.
And I just want to say that I want to speak from the subject agreeing with God. It's very difficult sometimes, many times with mankind to agree with God when he's walking in his own mind.
Right.
And when he has his own thoughts that he feels God should do it this way. Oftentimes, Peter was questioning Jesus.
Yes, he did.
Yeah, he challenged Jesus, but he found out that he was always wrong. Agreeing with God.
Yeah.
You may be seated. One of the most prolific and dynamic prophets in biblical history is the prophet Jeremiah. He prophesied during a time of social and political as well as economically strange religious ways that Israel had gone off the rails. Not only had they gone off the rails, it became an unrestful period. And complexities began to take place. Anytime you began to get further and further away from God, you cannot hear the little small voice because you have so many on the line attachments. We used to have back in my day on our telephone, we have had other people on the line listening to your conversation.
You're right, sir.
Sometimes you be your mother and your father. Tuning in on your conversation with your girlfriend and boyfriend. You would hear it click. After 5 to 10 minutes, you hear it click. They would say, stay tuned.
Right.
So you had to say what you had to say in between that click. Jeremiah, he had such a dynamic personality who encumbered the spirit of the suffering Christ, whom they called the weeping prophet. Yes, he was called the weeping prophet. Yes, he even wrote a second book called Lamentations, book of sorrow. It was very, very painful time for prophet Jeremiah. Many called him, as I forestated, the weeping prophet. And it goes on down where he had to deliver to a hypocritical people, Israel, messages. All he had, and let me step back here and say that the Lord had told him not to marry nobody. There was no woman that was qualified to be his wife. Now you know that's bad. For God to tell this prophet not to have a wife.
My Lord, my Lord, my Lord. Yes, Lord.
Apparently, he definitely wanted to pray earnestly for his people, his kinfolk, his relatives. But as I previously mentioned, that the Lord told him, don't pray for nobody. 3 times. 3 different occasions. Not even for their good.
My Lord, my Lord.
Now, if Jeremiah, the prophet Jeremiah, loved his people, how do you think God felt? God had delivered them. God had set them up. God had blessed them with the best of the land. And he had been their protector.
Yes, he has.
But Israel became a whore.
Right.
Involved with other nations. And wanting to be like other nations.
My Lord, my Lord.
It's amazing how God can bring you out
Yes.
and set you up And the devil will get in your mind to turn you away from your blessing.
My Lord, my Lord.
And want to be, you call it free. But what you're doing, you're getting back in bondage.
That's right.
Some people think, if I can just get away from so-and-so, so-and-so, I feel good. No, what the devil is doing is getting you out there so he can make a whore out of you. And this is what took place here, where the Lord told Jeremiah, don't pray for Israel.
My Lord.
And there he stood.
Yeah. Yeah. He stood.
As a prophet, taking messages back to Israel. They got on his nerve.
All right.
Because wasn't nobody listening to him.
Right.
And he stood in the gate and where people come in and out. He was preaching and people just walking on by him like he wasn't saying anything.
Oh, my Lord.
And he got to the point where he said, I'm going to stop doing this. I'm going to quit.
All right.
So you can just paint the picture where he goes to his little place, a hut where he lived. And said, I'm not going to speak any more in his name. There he is. After a while, you see him turning this way
My Lord, my Lord.
and turning that way. And you see him turning this way. See, the Lord didn't worry about what he said
All right, explain.
because he already knew what he had put in him.
Right. Yeah.
See, before I formed thee in the belly, I knew you.
Yes, sir.
And I separated, I sanctified you.
Yes.
He put in him the power of the word.
Yes.
And there he is in the darkness of his little hut, all by himself. And you can see him jumping up. I can't do this. It's like firing me. Let me get back out here and do what I'm supposed to do.
Yeah.
So you find, as I forestated in the past, that he was told by God 3 different occasions not to pray for the children of Israel, God's people, as well as his beloved people. Jeremiah, the 9th chapter, verse 1 says, "Oh, that my heart, my head were water, and my eyes a fountain of tears, that I might weep day and night for the slain of the daughters of my people." The Lord told him to stand in the way and see and ask for the old path.
Yes.
Yeah.
Where is the good way? And walk therein. And he shall find rest for your soul. But they said, we will not walk therein. So we find the complexities that this prophet faced with the message of the Lord, telling him to stand and inquire. And those that came by say, we don't want to know about the old path. We don't want to know about that old way. And they were hypocritical. They were rebellious.
That's right.
You have so many now. Modern, what they call a modern day Christian. They don't go to church at night anymore.
True.
One time a day. And some of these preachers, they don't be careful. They're going to hell too. They can run into the ball game faster than the members are. I believe that if there were more doors open on Sunday night, there would be less Christians, quote unquote, killed or in undesirable places.
All right. All right.
We will not walk therein, said the people. They don't want to hear, have Baptist Training Union anymore. They're a church even in the Baptist now. They're talking about not having Sunday school.
My Lord.
That's a mandate by Jesus. Go ye therefore into the world and teach.
Yes.
That's why they're having so much trouble in the church. You don't have to say amen. Because there's not enough teaching of God's word.
Oh, my Lord, my Lord.
And sure, not only do members should live the word, the pastor should be the leader of living the word. I see too many pastors now, preachers, they want to be served and not be served. He that is greatest among you, let him be your servant.
All right.
I'm not talking about any entourages with capes on like Batman and Superman. We're servants of the Lord. Some is too high. That's why God can't use them. Because that kid's down. Come down, Zacchaeus. Go home with me.
All right.
Some are too high in the mind. You got some Christians got high minds, but got holes in the pocketbook. What do I mean by that? I mean that they can buy suede suits, suede shoes, but they got a nickel to put in offering. They got the money. They putting it somewhere else. God, we're going to be middling now. Well, I'm a middle. See, the ones don't want to hear this. They try to play sleep, but I'm going to talk to that end anyway.
That's all right.
You can't agree with God when you are doing things that are disagreeable to His Word.
Oh, you're right. Oh, you're right.
I began to agree with God about tithing when things didn't go right. And I began to pay my tithes because I agreed that when I got my money, it didn't last long. When I was at St. John, they would have choirs and ushers on Friday night. And I would psychologically say, well, this is choirs and ushers. So I would sit and look at the fight. But then I got there and I kept going and staying at the house and something wasn't right. I didn't feel right. I said, let me get up and get out of here.
All right.
See, you don't feel right until you agree with God. I don't care how stubborn you may be. God got a way to break you down. Yes.
Oh, yeah.
I appreciate God.
Yes. God has a way. Yes, He does.
He broke me down to let me know I got a nurse in the house. See, you got to know who you are. Don't mean get out of your place.
That's right.
It's a blessing to know that God is with you. Late Dr. Carl Allen would say, he keeps jugging with me, and that's fine.
Yes, He would. Oh, Lord, oh, Lord.
And I just want to read this and I'll be done. He talks about here, Jeremiah, your souls, but they say, we will not walk therein. We find him so ostracized as he delivers what thus said the Lord. And yet, he had to deliver his message.
Oh, yes.
Because the Lord told him to be not afraid of their faces, for I am with thee to deliver you, saith the Lord. He had power with him. He told Jeremiah that thou therefore gird up thy loins and get up and speak unto them all that I command you. Be not dismayed at their faces.
Yes, sir.
Why did he tell him that? Because some faces was going to look ugly. You know, like some of you all, when you hear something, you don't like something.
Right.
You know how you can look that brazen look.
Oh, Lord.
Yes.
Looking like you have war paint on without putting any war paint on. It's amazing how people's expression changes when the Lord speaks to them. But see, I can't agree with you and agree with God at the same time. When he tells me to tell you what thus said the Lord,
Yes.
it has to be from the heart. See, God already knew the heart of his people and what Jeremiah was going to face. He put his Holy Spirit in Jeremiah. Even when Jeremiah said that he was going to preach or prophesy anymore. He wasn't going to do it. The Spirit of Christ, who was in him, moved him even though he was a man. But with God in him, he moved him. It was just like fire. Shut up in his palm.
That's right. Oh. Yes, sir.
Oh.
This book and life of Jeremiah is so dynamic until some theologians say that it is structured incoherently. Is structured incoherently. But as I read Jeremiah, the Lord, in guiding and moving and telling Jeremiah what to say and when to say it, is an awesome piece of literature. It is awesome how we see the Lord God in how he dealt with the hardness, the rebellion, the arrogancy, the insensitivity, and the unbelieving children of Israel through the prophet Jeremiah. Everybody could deal with Jeremiah during this period of time. We go back to chapter 18, where I would like to begin to press my claim this morning. Why? Where Jeremiah writes at the beginning of this chapter and saying the word which came to Jeremiah from the Lord, saying, arise and go down to the potter's house, and there I will cause you to hear my words. It is amazing how the Lord speaks to his men and moves them in a way that he wants them to be moved.
All right.
Now, my message is taken from Jeremiah, the 20th chapter. And time may not allow me to get through this morning, but I will come back tonight
All right.
and finish this up.
Yeah.
These verses here, it is told by the Lord to go to the potter's house, and I will give you my message there. And being the obedient prophet that he was, he went to the potter's house.
Yes.
And he began to look at the potter while working with the clay at the wheel. And as he made pots from the clay, and he saw how something was wrong. The clay, which the potter used, that same clay again, and made another pot. He used his hands to shape the pot the way he wanted it to be, which Jeremiah says, "Then went I down to the potter's house, and behold, he wrought a work on the wheel, and the wheels and the vessel that he made of clay was marred in the hand of the potter. So he made it again, another vessel, as seemed good, and the potter made it." Yes, he did. So we're coming up to where God is in the process of remaking Israel. He has a way to let you die out
My Lord.
and leave your name. Yeah. But make another. It was coming up to the point where God saw that Israel apparently, seemingly had no hope because they had gone so far rebelliously and disobedient until the Lord told Jeremiah not to even pray for them.
That's right.
But he kept crying out to them through the prophet Jeremiah. He kept giving them messages.
Right.
Tell them. Before God strike you. And before God began to bring judgment upon you. He give you warning after warning. Warning after warning. Days and months. Months and years. And he sent him down to the potter's house, where this potter was shaping pots the way he wanted them to be made. In various kinds of ways. And when he saw something that was not right in the pottery, the clay, he just remade it over. Well, the Lord is going to talk with Jeremiah to let him know if the potter of clay can do this, what do you think I can do with you? What do you think I can do with you, Israel? He is so intimate. God is so intimate with man. He knocks on his door every day, every night. He never leaves nor forsakes. While we're out doing our thing, thinking that we're hid. You have to be careful when you think you're hid.
That's true.
Because you're not agreeing with God. And when you don't agree with God, you disagree with him. You got a problem on your hands. It's amazing how, and I'm going to conclude this morning, after Job's 3 friends had come to the conclusion that we have examined him all we can do. And the other young man had come, he was angry with both of the sides because he was young and immature, where he wanted answers. And so God stepped in. He began to question Job. Since you want to justify yourself with me, you wrap up and you stand on your feet so we can have this talk. Where were you when? And it goes on 3 or 4 chapters where God began to talk about things no man knows. Left Job there with drooped shoulders and drooped heads. Oh Lord. Say, I spoke without knowing what he spoke in his integrity, but your integrity don't save you. It saved him to the point where it got him over the hump. But I'm trying to tell you, nobody can compare with the Lord. All you need to do is just agree with him. It doesn't matter what it looks like to you. Your little brain is not strong enough, wise enough to compare with the Lord. Just obey. It may look strange now, but God's way is the best way. I'll come back tonight. I will trust in the Lord. I will trust.
This is Sister Loretta George speaking from Grace St. John Metropolitan Missionary Baptist Church, located at 985 53rd Street in Oakland, California, 94608. And you have just seen this service live. You can also tuned in this evening